People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
To have a special life, you have to do special things. And that usually means putting in the work and loving it.
No one is going to create the future that you want for you.
We get one opportunity to come this way. We get one shot. We got one life to live. Life is too short to make excuses.
I want you to close your eyes and visualize your dream.
I need you to get out of your comfort zone.
If we all woke up ordinary, we all off to the same start.
You've decided that you're not going to allow the events, the things, the people, life, determine who you become.
It is a decision that you have to make within yourself. No one is responsible for that.
Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting until you see it.
Failure is only permanent if you choose not to get better.
And what you do today will determine your future.
Now I'm asking you, what do you see in the future for you? What brought you here today? Caused you to get up.
You're closer than you've ever been before. You have to do me a favor. Those 15 minutes are not worth the rest of your life. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
You woke up this morning to chase your dream until you catch it.
You're gonna have to sacrifice who you used to be. When you want to sleep, you have to wake up.
So don't run from difficulty, run to it.
Because it's always darkest before the dawn.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, give it 120%. Every day, every single day is a new beginning. So take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. It's a new day, a new opportunity.
So if you get some setbacks, embrace them. Sure, every day is not going to be a good day for you. Every day is not going to always happen for you. But it's always something happening. But you got to make it happen for the right reasons. For every day of your life, you must continue to believe in yourself. For every day of your life, you must have enough faith and understanding that it's up to you to make that difference count.
You got to realize your only competition is really yourself. They may be winning on the outside, but if you're losing on the inside, how can you overcome that? I'm going to tell you how you can overcome it. Shut down each and every negative thought that comes into your brain, each and every time it pops into your brain. So 5 in the morning, and you told yourself the night before, you were getting up today. And when it's time to get up, and your brain starts saying, no, I'm not ready yet. Just 5 more minutes. No. Just 10 more minutes. No. Just 15 more minutes. You have to shut it down and say, we're getting up right now. 5-second rule. Like Mel Robbins said, you got 5 seconds to act on your impulse or it's gone. So we're not waiting 5 seconds. We're going to rise and grind. We're going to rise and shine. We're going to rise and climb. We're going to rise and give everything we got.
So you always find yourself starting off on the right path. You start off, you're feeling good, you're running, you're doing everything that you need to do. But it starts to get harder. Things starting to push you back. Life starts to push you back. People start to push you back. Everything around you starts to crumble. You have nothing else left to give. Then you got to find something else. You got to turn on that grind switch. You got to get down and dirty and nasty if you got to. You got to do what necessarily is going to take for you to get what you want. Hello. You got to go out there with everything you got.
It's time for you to set yourself on fire and live life with passion. and put yourself in a position to do the things that you want to do on a daily basis. Rise and grind. Because the mindset of greatness knows that adversity breeds resilience. And that struggle leads to its next level success and bona fide brilliance. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Get up, get up, get up. Give every ounce of your heart, give every ounce of your soul. See, I woke up early, went to bed late. I'm in grind mode. You gotta see the sun in yourself to live in shine mode. You gotta understand it's not a sprint, it's a marathon in due time mode. If you're not where you want to be in your life, it's time for you to live in redesign mode, refine mode. Don't you understand you were put here to win?
Don't be afraid of the hard work. Don't be afraid to.
Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing?
All is well.
Good here. Come on, let's look alive. It's Monday. You guys still sleeping?
Nope, and I don't want to be.
Good. New and exciting, guys. What's going on in your lives that you want to share with the crew today? Anything good?
Everything is always good.
Good, good, good. You got something?
I do. In fact, I was told this week that I don't care about my buyer's needs. I have well, in Georgia, I am able to be a dual agent.
Yeah.
But I chose not to be, so I'm representing the buyer as a customer.
As a customer? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because you have a potential listing of your own that you want to sell them, or is it for another reason?
Your volume went low.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
That's better.
Yeah, is it something? Are you planning on selling that client one of the properties, or is it for another?
Is he in or out, guys, or is it me?
It's going out. Yeah, it's cutting off.
Okay.
I am going in and out. All right, let me try this. Sorry. How about now, guys? Is that better or still in and out?
I can hear you good.
Okay. All right, good. If it goes back, let me know. I'll restart my audio.
Okay.
All right. Is there a specific reason why you chose to represent them that way? Is there a listing that you want to possibly sell them, or is it for another reason altogether?
It's really because I really know the both of them on a personal level. But I did explain that my allegiance is really towards the seller. And because of the way things are with them, I want to make sure that they're the type of people that if you don't make sure that they read every word, then they'll be always pointing a finger.
Okay, so it's a specific client. It's not because you want to do your business model this way now. It's because of that specific client.
Yes, because of that specific client. But so the inspection report went through, and they decided that because the inspection report came out, honestly, it was really clean. It was a single owner. She took care of the property very, very well. So there was really nothing to report besides 2 windows that had condensation because they're double pane. So I'm looking for a glass company to come out and fix that, to fix the seal. But within the statement to address the concerns for the property, they want a new dishwasher. The house is 17 years old. They want a new dishwasher, and they wanted the owner to install a microwave over the stove.
And currently there isn't a microwave right now.
There
it's just a
isn't.
vented hood. Okay.
Correct. And I told them that they were being unreasonable. 2 things. The house was listed for $350,000, which is already below. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath on a half-acre lot, a leveled fenced-in yard. So we're selling the house to them for $335,000. My seller's also given $12,000 seller's concession. So she's even eaten all the closing costs.
Now, when you say your
So,
seller, it's not
mhm.
literally your client, is it? You're just
No, the
choosing.
seller is my client. The
Oh, the
buyer
seller
is
is your
not.
client. Oh,
The
okay. So
seller
it
is
was
my
your listing.
client, the buyer is not.
Okay, got it. But you represent both. You could represent both if you wanted to.
I
So
could.
all right, I get it. I understand now. All right, I understand your situation. Go ahead.
Yes. So the buyer started crying and told me I wasn't being considerate of her feelings, even though I'm representing them as a customer.
Yeah.
So I asked him, what is a make or break deal on this list? If you don't get the microwave, are you still going to move forward with the sale of the house? And she told me that I didn't honor her. So I thought about it for a minute. I took a deep breath, hear her out, and I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to stress out my seller because my seller is a single lady, but she has a dying dog. Her dog is over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Um,
Nuts.
and if that microwave and that dishwasher is really that important to you, I'm going to gift it to you at closing via gift card or gift certificate.
Yeah.
I looked up how much each of them cost and I said, I'm going to give you $700.
Yeah.
Via gift card or gift certificate to take care of it at closing.
Of course.
And then they decided, no, Belinda, I don't want you to do that.
Uh-huh.
So now I had to pin them in a corner. So what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want the new appliances or do you just want to cry about it because you want me to aggravate the seller?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do neither.
Mhm.
And so I haven't heard from him in the past 3 days. That was that was Wednesday.
Okay. Well, if it comes down to it and it's a make or break for them and they won't do the deal without those items, but they don't want you to pay for it, just go back to the seller and tell the seller to pay for it and you'll give them a $700 credit. They
Can
won't
I
know
Yeah,
ask-
why.
I'm sorry.
but I honestly told the seller, I said, if they insist that you take care of it, that means that you're going to up the price in order to give them more money at closing.
Mhm.
We got to renegotiate the deal. They want more money or
Yeah.
more things, then we're going to increase the sales price.
Yeah. Okay. However you think you can get it done, but I don't think in this market it's worth killing a deal over such small items.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can get it done. For sure. What do you guys have opinion on? Do you guys have any insight on that situation? Has anything like that ever happened to you where you had to kind of intervene and play both sides of the field?
Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's good.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on? Tell me.
Wouldn't that sound like they're trying to get out of the contract over that? Because if they're not allowing you to, they don't want you paying for it, then what's the real deal here? Can that be a deal breaker right there and they're trying to get out and I
Are
don't know. I
they
would think about it that way.
are they within their right to cancel over these types of inspection issues, Belinda?
Exactly.
Because these seem like
Now that we have signed it, no, I'm told them that once I put the contract, not the contract, but the amendment to address the concerns with the property, that their due diligence, once it's completely binded, their due diligence period is over.
Mhm.
And that they would be forfeiting the earnest money if they pulled out outside of not being approved for a mortgage.
Okay. Yeah, so they're in a position where they really can't negotiate too much. You know, Belinda's just trying to be nice to them and help them out. All right. Well, we wish you the best on that. I think it's just a matter of them realizing that, you know, they're crying over something so minor. Usually, you know, some of you who are newer in this space, I'm going to explain to you what home inspections are for. Home inspections are really for items and issues that you can't see with the plain sight. You just you know, you walk into a house and you see a you see a vent over a stove, and then you come back and you say you want a microwave over the stove. Well, if the vent isn't working, then the obligation the seller has is to replace like for like or credit you like for like. Not, hey, I don't like that vent. Can you get me a better microwave vent instead? And no, that's not their responsibility. But Belinda, being a person who was thinking to herself, you know, is this really worth, you know, losing the deal over a couple $100? You know, it's an item that could be easily addressed, but the seller really is not obligated to do that for them. Now, if it was like an issue like there's termites or there's an underground oil tank or you have some kind of structural damage that's not visible to the plain eye, then yeah, of course, that's what a home inspection is for. You understand? So sometimes people confuse that they start to try to negotiate cosmetics, and cosmetics can't be negotiated for a home inspection. You can ask, you're within your reason to ask. And I know a lot of attorneys would love to take your money and get you out of a deal into a new one so they can keep charging you, deal by deal. And that's what happens a lot in New Jersey, and deals die constantly because attorneys don't care. They might be on retainers. But when you're dealing with a situation like this, you got to explain to your buyers that, look, that's not within reason, like Belinda said.
Like, can I address Jeanette's question too? Because she
Go for
wanted
it.
to know if they wanted to back out the deal. This is a situation where the buyers are adults. They have children in college, one still at home, and they're thinking about this for their forever home. And they're looking at that they want it to be perfect, because neither of them are at the stage in their life where they are good handymen. And they watch a lot of social media. They watch a lot of YouTube videos. They watch a lot of TikTok videos. And I mean, these are people that thought that they can go into the house without putting anything down because of the amount of videos and what they thought was home
Yeah.
first time down payment assistance. And when it was brought to the light that it was a second mortgage and not a grant, So it's them getting their information from social media more than trusting the professional that's in it.
Yeah, that happens a lot, quite a bit. People get misinformation from social media and TV, and even real estate agents are misguided when they join real estate, thinking that, oh, I just got to show clients 3 houses and they pick one. We know that's not the case at all, right? We know that it takes a lot more work than just showing someone 3 houses and they pick one. So I think everyone, when they're coming to a transaction, they have to be educated. And Belinda, I'm sure it was a struggle to try to undo all those months and years of misinformation that the buyers may have had. But it's part of the job, guys. We have to set expectations. That's called a buyer consultation. When you first meet with them, you set the expectations that you have for them and that they should have for you. And when you're doing that, you should also whip out any buyers exclusive forms that you may have, or any CIS or buyer representation or non-representation, whatever you choose to do with them, because that's all also not only is a good practice, but some of those documents are legally necessary to start working with someone in any kind of manner. So yeah, take that opportunity to really educate them and tell them what the market's doing. Tell them some real facts, show them some real numbers, show them what homes are selling for, whether that's above asking or below asking, and do we have any room for negotiation in this market? What do interest rates actually look like right now if they haven't been talking to a loan rep? What the reality of it, and how can you bring it down as well? What options you have to bring those rates down. Right now more than ever, I feel is a great opportunity to do buyer consultations before you actually hit the pavement. Because it's a time like we've never seen before, and there's so much contradicting information out there that does lead buyers astray, as well as sellers too, because a lot of sellers, they think they're still in a seller's market. They think that it's still a hot seller's market. I get whatever I want for my house. My neighbor just sold for this, 6 months ago. They don't know that in a matter of a couple of weeks, things could change dramatically. So we'll talk more about that today, and what I'm still seeing, and you guys can share your stories as well. But I think we're on the cusp of probably seeing a lot of changes in the market soon. As far as interest rates go, we're getting higher by the day. The 10-year bond is creeping up. Oil, which is a sign of a coming recession, is also creeping up, like I mentioned to you guys before, which is also going to put a strain on our inflation. Our inflation rate is going to be creeping higher, which means that the higher inflation creeps, the more the Fed has to do to try to calm that down by raising rates more. So we're in a spiral. I think we're starting a death spiral right now, for lack of a better term. And only God knows where we'll end up, but we have to be ready for any scenario, or all scenarios, right? So anyone else, before we kind of like dive into more deeper topics today, anyone else want to share anything or talk about anything you guys may have been seeing, or any stories that you guys want to, maybe some insight or some information on?
Louis, if you've covered this in recent weeks and I've missed, then just let me know and I'll take it offline. But
No.
Can you tell me a little bit about this law that's going to go, this class action suit it's going to affect the commission of the seller will not be paying the commission of the,
To the buyer's agent.
yeah. Have you discussed that?
It's we have
Yes,
discussed it.
please.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, did you say
Oh,
something?
I just said, yes, please explain it.
Well, last time we spoke about it, it was a couple of months ago, and there's a class action lawsuit right now against the National Association of Realtors and independent brokerages as well, about the way that commissions have been paid out traditionally, which is always by the seller to both the buyer's agent and the seller's agent, which is kind of, if you think about it, it makes sense on one point, because if I don't represent you, why should you pay me? That's basically like what the whole concept is, right? So if a seller is always paying from their proceeds, the buyer's agent and the seller's agent, but there's no representation agreement between the buyer's agent and the seller, why does the seller have to pay for the buyer's agent? Because where this stemmed from is because Keller Williams got exposed for doing, and this has been done, I'm not going to throw Keller Williams under the bus, but this has been done for millennia since the realtors started doing dialogue training day one, where if you talk to a seller, you explain to the seller that when a seller lists their home, when they offer 6% commission, if the listing is sold by another broker or brokerage, then that means that that commission is going to be split. Normally it's split down the middle, which means that the buyer's agent gets 3% and we get 3%. So if you only want to pay 4%, that means that we have to split 2% with the other brokerage and 2% with us, which puts you at a disadvantage, because when agents see that this home that's similar to another home is paying less commission, you're less likely to get someone to want to show your home, and your home will be less likely to be sold, which we all know is true. It may not be ethical. And you know that real estate agents have to go through continuing education and most importantly in the ethics department because of things like this. But let's be real. A lot of agents will prefer to push a client to a house that's paying 3% commission towards 2% commission. So we know that, but it's like an unspoken type of practice. But they were exposed by a disgruntled seller or multiple disgruntled sellers who have claimed that this practice has hurt the sellers and how much money they've been able to sell their homes for. And they've also claimed that real estate agents would tell them that real estate agents, if they don't list with them, they're less likely to, a lot of things that real estate agents say. So they're using a lot of this stuff as like the fodder, to try to like get a class action going, and they were successful in getting the class action going, and it's turned into throwing the NRA in there as well, National Association of Realtors. And now what it's become is now it's gotten some major attention where I don't know where it is today. I could do some research while you guys, talk amongst yourself and see if there's any new type of revelations. But even Tom Ferry came out with information when this was really kind of like first coming to light about what buyers agents can do to protect themselves with these upcoming changes. Because now, if you're not getting paid, if you're not allowed to get paid by a seller, how can buyers agents even exist? Like, what purpose do you serve now if you have no representation or you have no compensation, I should say, from the seller? Well, easy. A couple of things. The obvious one is get your buyer to pay you. But getting the buyer to pay you is not just black and white. It's not saying, hey, Mr. Buyer, you want me to help you find a house? No problem. My commission's 3%. Okay, where's that 3% coming from? Because a lot of buyers who are buying their home maybe for the first time, they have just enough for the down payment and maybe the closing costs and not much else. They budget just enough until they have enough for a house. So now you're telling me the buyer has to also save up money for your commission. Buyer's gonna be like, well, why do I have to pay your commission? I just can go to Zillow and find the home and go directly to the listing agent, and the listing agent won't represent me, but I have an attorney or a title company can just review the title. I don't have to use a buyer's agent. So buyer's agents can be eliminated, and very likely a lot of agents will leave the business if they're focused solely on buyers, because how can one convince someone to utilize them when they can go directly through Zillow or directly through the listing agent and get access to that home, right? And I'm posing this as a question. Any one of you guys can tell me, what you think the value of a buyer's agent is in the future. The other option is to get the buyer's agent and the buyer to finance your commission. So if somebody wants to work with you and they really want to work with you, but they don't have the money, can they finance your commission just like they can the closing costs? Well, yes, you're allowed to finance the commission as long as you have a buyer's agreement in place, but that has to be disclosed at the time that the loan is originated. So when the buyer goes to apply for the loan with the lender, they have to explain to the lender, hey, listen, I have an agent and I have to finance their commission. And this will be more of a common thing in the future. In the past, it's been kind of like case by case situation where usually the loan officer has to run it by the underwriter and the underwriter has to okay. But you also get into an area that's called high cost. And with lending, there's a lot of kind of like scrutiny ever since Dodd-Frank came around, where if a loan doesn't meet certain criteria, it won't be approved for technical reasons, not because the person can't afford it or the person doesn't make it doesn't have the credit worthiness, but because it reaches a level of over exuberance and expense for that loan. So if that loan becomes too expensive on paper, even though the person can afford it, it could hit a level of high cost, which means that it will get kicked back by the system and it won't be a loan that can be funded. So if it comes to it and we have to get our buyers to pay for our commission, we have to either pick A or B, which is the buyer pays for it out of pocket or the buyer finances. Those are the only two options, right? I don't know about a third option. Maybe it'll be something creative in the future. But if it comes down to it and buyers find out that, hey, we can just go directly to the listing agents and we'll do that, a lot of buyers agents are going to have to turn into sellers agents or get out of the business, right? So that means more, the same agents fighting for the same business, because now what we've done is, let's be honest, there's probably a lot more buyers and buyers agents than there are listings, at least for right now, or there had been for the last few years. It's not a buyer's market yet where there's more listings than there are buyers. When that happens, then tables will turn. But if, let's just say we have 3-to-1 buyers agents to sellers agents right now, and this law comes into effect, that means that I would say a good 2 out of every, I would say a good 50% of agents will probably leave this business, which is terrible for some, but great for others, which means there's less competition and there's more obviously business for everyone. But how do you survive that, right? So number one is you have to learn how to get good with listings. How many people here have been going after listings or working with their sphere of influence to try to see if there's anyone who's willing to sell their home? There's a lot of ways to do that. Other than that, I don't know any new dates or any new laws that have hit yet. I just wanted to kind of touch on the background of that, Brent. But do you know something, Brent, that you've heard recently that I can
I
kind
heard
of
last week, I went to a RIA meeting in Sarasota, and the guy made mention that RE/MAX settled out of court because it's coming and they're coming after every brokerage one by one. So the fact that RE/MAX is already settled, the class action in effect is already won. And then now it's just a matter of time before every one of the brokers is on the chopping block.
All right, let's watch this real quick.
Yeah, okay,
Go ahead,
because I'm
go
just
ahead.
reading Realtor magazine says otherwise.
Okay, let's just.
I was at the Realtor Palooza and they said RE/MAX settled in 23 different states.
All right, let's check this out. There is a video here, a 2-minute video.
Monday, September 18th, and we've got some breaking news here. On Monday, RE/MAX became the second major real estate
Volume's real low.
to reach a settlement with plaintiffs in the class action lawsuit about seller commissions. The company's agreed to pay $55 million and adjust its practices in the settlement. For many years, listing real estate transaction has charged sellers a fee to sell a home, and that includes a so we were talking about 5%, 6%.
Yeah, here at Lewis.
Where a lot of agents end up with it. RE/MAX, which is publicly traded.
You guys are having a hard time hearing, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going in and out.
Yeah, I think my microphone is. All right, how about now? Can you guys hear? Is that good?
Mhm.
All right, good. I think it's a problem with my XLR cable. All right, let me just do this. Is that good now? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Security company notified the Securities and Exchange Commission of this agreement on Monday. The settlement's still subject to approval by the court, but this is a major step as it is the second national brand to settle in this case. Anywhere, which is the other brand that settled, which owns Coldwell Banker, ERA, Century 21, and others among its brands, settled in January of 2023 for $83.5 million. It appears this is a tipping point for real estate business, folks. We're starting to see listings in many different MLS systems across the country that are not offering compensation to buyer's agents at all. So we're seeing that happen a lot more. The buyers are going to have to figure out a way to pay their realtor for their services in the transaction. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes about. One way that could be done is to simply ask the seller to pay it as a part of the transaction. It would be similar to closing costs that can currently be paid, and the seller would have the option to either pay it or not pay it in order to make the transaction go through. Second possibility is for mortgage lenders to find a way through their investors to add the real estate agent fee on top of the loan amount over and above the appraisal. That's certainly a possibility, but ultimately the real estate transaction as we know it will be different soon. Buyers will be able to negotiate lower commissions the same way that sellers have done for years. At the same time, the buyer's agents will have to work harder to show their value for buyers to be willing to work with them. Currently, there is a rule in place for MLS systems throughout the country that still enforce the requirement for the listing broker to pay the buyer broker some kind of compensation, even if it's just $1. It appears that rule is likely to be eliminated in the near future. Be on the lookout for more updates from this story. I'm guessing that Keller Williams will be the next large company to make a move. I'll keep you updated, so keep checking back for updates. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's all news to me. So what are you guys hearing? Who can give me some more insight on this? I think Sarah, you said that you were at Realtor-Palooza and they said what now?
Morning, Lewis.
Hey, good morning.
So I heard that Remax settled in 23 different states for what Brent was mentioning about the seller paying the not paying the buyer's agent commission.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I was in training on a lender's session, and we asked him if the buyer's agent commission can be added to the loan, and he said no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not every lender is going to allow you to do that or even do enough research to want to help out. But when it becomes the norm, everyone's going to have some kind of a solution. Every lender, I should say, is going to have some kind of solution. If not, they lose business. It's just the plain reality. But he gave us one option that I didn't think of. You can still, even though the seller's not offering a buyer's agent compensation, it doesn't stop you from asking, which means that just like a listing doesn't offer seller concession, it doesn't stop us from asking for a seller concession. So that makes sense. So I guess instead of asking for a 3% seller concession, you would ask for a 6% seller concession. And in some instances, it could probably end up to you getting more commission that you normally would have, because a lot of typical commissions are 2.5%. So, you can negotiate for 3. I've had agents in the last few months ask me for 3 as a seller when I'm only offering 2.5. So agents do this. It's a normal practice for agents to ask for more commission or ask for commission, period. So I didn't thought of that third option. That's a good option. Did you guys pick up on that?
Yeah, I picked up on it. And that's also, well, I use that as a leg of why I'm also representing the buyer, treating the buyer as a customer. Because I spoke with the lenders that I use here in Georgia and in Florida, and we've been discussing this. And one thing that they did bring to the table, that because I can hold a retainer fee, my retainer fee has to be a flat fee. It can't fluctuate within a client, because then that would be violating an antitrust rule.
Yeah.
So for one, and then as a buyer agent, your fee should also be a flat fee, so that you are not what's that word I'm looking for? Discriminating, or being or to be accused of discriminating. So as a buyer's agent, again, here's where you know your worth. If this is what you charge, this is what you charge. And don't look at that as something outlandish because you do have your flat fee listing companies out here that say, you just pay me this and I'll put it up on the MLS. Well, it's the same thing now for buyer agents. So buyer's agents also has the option to become flat fee agents.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to survive if you want to continue to be a buyer's agent. But just letting you know that it is being looked at on a lending side, that if you are going to participate in representing buyers, your fees or your commission rates cannot be all over the place. It will get you in trouble. So make that be your forewarning.
What do you mean? Explain that. Like, you can't charge more for one person than you can for another. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Correct. So if you are just going to ask for 3%, make sure you ask for 3% across the entire board, especially if you're using the same lender or, a group of lenders. Don't let the lenders see that you're doing 2% for one, 3% for another, asking 4% or 2.5%. Do not fluctuate your rate. That will get you in trouble.
Because we do it now. Like, I have an investor that I've been working with for the past 3 years. Now I charge him only 4%.
Right. So
as a total.
That should be our standard practice representing buyers, period. That we do not fluctuate our rates.
Yeah.
Because if you do, can you justify why?
Yeah, because if you have a flat rate and then they negotiate another rate with you, you know what I mean?
And that will be on paper. So yes, if you have that on paper, great, and you got that to stand by. But if you're just doing it, because just like Lewis said, and just like we all know, there's some agents out here that are not relationship agents. There are money chasing agents. And if they see $1 million buyer come, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to charge them. They're going to
cheaper.
So, but
they ain't gonna pay more.
Again, moral ethics. I think that should just be the word of the day. Moral ethics.
Yeah.
If you would have it done unto you, then you can do it unto others, period.
I think the next thing to go is going to be the percentage-based representation in the future, because let's just say that you have a Honda Civic and you take it to the mechanic and you need an oil change. Or let's just say you need, I don't know, something that's pretty standard. Let's say you need the windshield fluid topped off, right? And you go into a mechanic and the mechanic says, oh, you have a Honda Civic? Okay, well, it's going to be $20. Or then you pull into a mechanic and you're like, hey, I am driving a Bentley. I need the windshield fluid topped off. Okay, that'll be $200. And they charge you more because of the assumption that you're more wealthy and you have a nicer car. So in the real estate space, why do we get paid more for $1 million listing than we do for a entry-level home when the process is the same, right? Let's be honest. It's very difficult to sell a house, whether it's entry-level house or if it's $1 million home, or sometimes it could be very easy to sell entry-level home and sometimes very easy to sell $1 million house. So do you guys think that in the future we might become flat rate and that might be the new norm instead of overcharging wealthier people or people with more expensive homes, or overcharging, let's say, investors versus regular buyers? Like, do you guys think that that could also be on a chopping block next?
I'd be interested in knowing what the NAR is saying in this whole process, and what they must have some strategy since they're regulating all of us. So I don't really know, but I would think that they're going to come out with some, maybe what you're saying would be their answer, Louis. I don't know.
Yeah, because we are private contractors. We get paid commission, which means it's usually a percentage. Commission is very rarely in the professional field of management or representation a flat fee, but sometimes it is. So I'm wondering how they would see that, because if you're going to the mechanic or if the contractor's coming to your house, they don't charge you a percentage of the value of your car or your home to fix what they have to fix. They charge you a flat rate, supposedly, right? So maybe in the future, because I really feel like real estate agents have been like the target for so many of the last few years, from attorneys and specifically class action lawsuit attorneys. I feel like that may be the next thing they go after. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking, outside the box here, but hopefully they don't, because obviously it gives us incentive to, work harder. I don't want it to turn into something where it's kind of like, there's no incentive to go after the bigger fish or the bigger home or the bigger client.
I was gonna say that, like, the most fun part about our job is just being competitive.
Yeah.
The challenges,
I
it
think so.
makes it like not boring.
Yeah, it does. And it makes it not boring, right? And I mean, getting to the level where you represent affluent clients or $1 million homes, it doesn't like, you don't trip on it and get into it by accident. You've really polished your craft
That's
to be
true.
able to earn more. So
That's true.
if that's the case, then just roll into the office with sweatpants on and a t-shirt and just represent anyone who, finds you, at that point. So
True.
it almost
Yeah,
feels
but
like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't that what flat fee listing brokerages do?
Yeah, there's no
And
like,
the same thing here in
I think
Georgia.
Redfin does that, right, Brenda?
Yeah.
Brenda? Yeah.
Yes, but real estate attorneys here in Georgia, they charge a flat fee for the title search. I mean, and it doesn't matter
the price,
because of the lawyers handle the closing. It's the same rate no matter what price point the homes are that we're selling and we bring to that attorney's office.
That's very true. That's a very good point. I can understand a home inspector who has to inspect a 5,000 square foot house versus a 1,000 square foot house because it's more work involved.
Yeah.
But for us,
And
is there more work involved? Maybe we give people tiers like, hey, listen, if you want this kind of representation, I charge this amount. If you want this kind of media exposure, I charge this amount. If you want these kinds of photos, I charge this amount. And maybe that way you can get compensated better. Because would you do the same amount of marketing for a home that is $150,000 and is going to fly off the market than you would for a home that's $5 million and is going to have a professional photographer, professional videographer, social media campaigns? Like that's where you start to really kind of say like, well, why would I want to take $1 million home then? Because I'm going to spend more marketing $1 million home than I would the $150,000 house, but I'm going to make the same. So there would be no incentive to help homeowners that are in the higher price point, correct?
Correct, but that's why you have your luxury listing group, because don't they do things totally different?
Yeah, they're
from the mid group and then from the group that just wants to work with investors. So we all have our niche or niche or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on where your target area is. My target's between 450 and 700. I handle that entire group a particular way, but I make sure that I don't jump all over the board. So therefore I am treating others differently. But that's the target area that I choose to be in.
Got it.
God. I'm not picky. I'll take anyone and everyone right now.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So you're saying treat it more like a startup hair salon versus a hair salon that deals with high-end clientele. So if you go and you get a blowout at a starter, or just someone who just opened up a beauty shop, maybe you pay $50 for a wash and a blowout or something. But then you go to like a place that's very high-end and they deal with high-end clientele. Maybe they charge $150 for the same service, but that's the price point, is what you're saying. So you have agent groups that charge, $20,000 to list your home, and you have others that charge $2,000.
Right, because it's the same in the area that we live. Naples is far different from Bradenton, right? Miami's different from Orlando.
They're all different.
Newark is definitely different from Brooklyn. So each area has its own price range, and each area will be treated differently.
Correct.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
I can't, the homes that are in Atlanta, I can't sell at the same price for homes here in Villa Rica.
So what you're saying is, as long as we can keep a free market, whether we go to a flat rate or we continue being commission based, it'll work itself out as long as there's not too much interference from government or maybe the board or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it'll work itself out, because whether you're doing $1 million listing and if your flat fee is 3%, then that's what it is.
Mhm.
So yes, if you sold $1 million property, will you be getting more money? Absolutely. If you sold a $100,000 property and you charge 3%, will it be less? Yes, but will it be the same 3%? That's all what we are being warned about. If it's 3, let it be 3. If it's 2.5 that you want to charge a buyer, let it be 2.5.
Got it. Brent, have you been hearing, you mentioned you heard something about this new change. Are you seeing anything personally, or are you just heard at the RIA meeting?
It was just a week ago that I went at the RIA meeting, and the guy, I mean, we were there with some pretty big names and about 100 investors in the room, and the guy just matter of factly said, RE/MAX settled and it's coming, and it's going to be a tsunami for the real estate industry. It's going to be an earth, so he just said it's going to be devastating, and he got my attention, and I don't know that much about it. And they laughed and said, because the realtors, they don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah.
And by looking in this Zoom gallery, I think he's probably right, but the investors probably know more than we do. But I'm very interested, and we'll try to do some research on what is the NAR saying.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at that right now, because I do have up on my screen right now what the NAR did say, comment on this. Aside from what happened with RE/MAX, it says here that NAR said in a statement that it is not dissuaded from its argument. Sorry. Settlement is always an option for any party in litigation. The recent settlements do not change how the case is presented to the court or NAR's commitment to defend ourselves. Remember, NAR, guys, is funded by us. We pay through our board dues. We pay for NAR. We pay to be a member of the association. So they have to have a lobbying group on our behalf. So, they're not really, they can't have a weak stance in this, but let's see what else they said. So pro-competitive, pro-consumer, local MLS broker marketplaces ensure equity, efficiency, transparency, and market-driven price options for home buyers and sellers. The practice of the listing broker paying the buyer's broker's compensation saves sellers time and money by having so many buyer brokers participating in that local marketplace, and thus creating a larger pool of buyers and sellers. For buyers, these marketplaces save them the burden of extra closing costs, enable them to receive professional representation, and make home ownership possible for more people, which is true, because it streamlines the expense of having to pay for an agent. Because right now what we're doing is we're taking something that's already built into the expense of listing your home to now making it an extra hurdle for the buyer to figure out, how do I pay for this now? Do I pay it myself? Do I finance it? Do I ask the seller for it? Now there's 3 options that they can go through. It just becomes an extra hurdle for people to jump through. And not only that, but not to mention that there's going to be less agents in the business, I feel, because of this. So there'll be less active people who are going to be, actively trying to sell your property. So I don't know, it could be a double-edged sword there. And then it says here, the lawsuits claim that NAR's rules violate antitrust laws and inflate the fees paid to buyer's agents by requiring a listing agent to compensate the buyer's agent for listing a property on the MLS. So I don't know if you guys are familiar or remember the antitrust laws from when you got your real estate license. For some of us might have been the last time we heard the term, but this basically means it's a monopoly, or you're creating a process that's not fair to all parties, and you're really kind of like making it one-sided. So let's continue here and see what they say. So NAR argues that the lawsuits misrepresent association rules and anti-competitive. The rules direct listing brokers to determine, in consultation with their clients, the amount of compensation offered to the buyer's agent in connection with their MLS listing. Further, NAR says buyer's agents are free to negotiate compensation with the listing broker that is different from what appears on the MLS. That is also true. Neither NAR or MLS have any say in setting brokers' compensation and commissions. And that would be true, because if it was set in stone what the NAR or MLS said you have to charge for listings, then it would be anti-competitive and it wouldn't be antitrust, but it's really all negotiable. I don't know if you guys have ever seen signs in real estate companies or in board offices where it says listing commissions are negotiable. I think for a while it was like almost standard to have that in place, or maybe on the listing agreement itself, it says listing commissions are negotiable. Or I remember specifically saying in New Jersey, listing commissions are negotiable. So I don't know if you guys recall seeing that in any of your documents or any offices, but it's very true. And it has to say that, because sometimes people, you don't want the public to think, oh, it has to be 6%, or it's mandatory at 6%. That's when you become, and that's when you have like antitrust. That is very true.
But it's negotiable between the agent and the seller.
Yeah, between the agent and the seller, and it's also negotiable according to what we just read here with the buyer. The buyer can negotiate. I'm sorry, not the buyer, but the buyer's agent can negotiate more commission. You know, usually it's never the other way around where you negotiate less commission. Like, oh, please give me less commission. It's usually always more commission. So it's all around. It's negotiable. That's what.
So can you go back up to the couple paragraphs where it says the NAR feels confident that they're going to. Oh yeah, we are confident we will prevail in proving the lawfulness of the rules under attack. So NAR feels they're going to beat it.
They feel they're going to fight this because think about this. What I mentioned earlier is that if these rules come into effect, you're going to have a waning of real estate agents. A lot of agents are going to get out of the business, right? So if you were the NAR, who the only source of income you have is from realtors' fees, and we're talking about maybe 50% of the agents getting out of the business, they're going to fight. They're going to fight that tooth and nail. They're going to spend all of our money fighting this, because not only would it help more agents stay in the business, but it'll also help them get more money. Because if they lose 50% of their revenue, they're going to have to make cutbacks too. They're going to have to fire people in their organization. They're going to have less bonuses or wherever they get, or cut downs on salaries. So they're going to fight this for us, whether we like it or not, because it doesn't help them either. So
when people like Remax, ERA, and Keller Williams all begin to fold and settle out of court, doesn't that undermine the effectiveness of the NAR?
I think that those companies, they had to take those kinds of stances because they have to report to the shareholders and to whoever their if they're private companies, whoever their people that are at the top, they think about these things, because in the United States, you guys know this, you could be right in your stance, but it'll cost you more money than you can ever recoup to defend that. So sometimes it's just cheaper to make it go away. And now what Remax and many other real estate companies are hoping for is that now the NAR picks up where they left off, and they carry the football to the end zone from here on out. Because whether you have multiple lawsuits defending the same conflict, or whether you have one, well, however that gets resolved and however that comes to fruition, that's what's going to stand as precedents, when it comes to that law. So I think that Remax and Keller and anyone else who ends up settling, they're going to be just fine, because like Belinda said, we'll figure out, there'll always be a way to make money. We'll always figure something out. But I think they have been trying to get out of this lawsuit as quickly as possible from day one, because no real estate company really wants to take on a class action fight. Nobody does to the end.
Do you think this is part of the reason EXP stock is down?
Oh, EXP stock is down just because the general market is down, but I think real estate is going to be hammered because of interest rates. So a lot of investors are looking at any real estate related stock or ETF right now is risky. Home builders are down, and there's no reason for them to be down because there is demand for homes right now. So everything real estate related is down right now for a few reasons out of our control. I think a lot of people see recession coming. Other people see high oil prices as a negative sign. And I just think that these are just going to be ebbs and flows of the market, but I don't think it has anything to do with so much. I think it might have a small piece to do with this, but I think it's more to do with the general market, the macro market.
Yeah. Well, I just noticed that the 52-week high was $25.39.
Yeah, because they got put into the S&P 500, I think, or S&P 600. They got installed into a bigger basket of stocks, so that's why the stock went up. But I think after the news kind of settled in, and everyone started taking profits, and the stock has come down some.
Yeah, yeah. Today it's down to $15 instead of 25. That's a pretty good dip.
Yeah, it's like a 40%.
The why behind the what. So yeah, the market's down. This lawsuit's not going to help real estate in general. So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a long-term believer of EXP, these are good opportunities to accumulate more, you know, or not, you know, or just to keep accumulating it through your closings, which is what I do, because it doesn't hurt.
So there's a practical question, Louis. Can we add to, when we signed up for the stock option, like I think it was, they allow us to take 5% of our commission and put it into stock.
Yeah.
And can we add to that if we want to?
Absolutely. You can add, well, you can't through with the discount. The discount is only up to 5%. But you can add, like, for instance, if you're like, you know what, I feel like this is a really good stock to be buying. Every time you get paid, you can take 5% of your own money and then go and buy it every time you close. You can do that as much as you want on the open market, but you can't do it through EXP, unfortunately, because the 10% discount's only for the 5.
So if I called EXP World today and said, hey, I want to buy $5,000 worth of EXP stock, can we do that?
No, you can't do that through them. You can only do that through your broker. So if you have a brokerage account, or if you have a 401k, or you have anything like that, you could do it through them, and you could buy it. You know, you could buy it if you want on a schedule where it automatically buys it for you, or you can buy it manually whenever you come into a closing.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And guys, another thing too is the stock you buy with your closings, that stock is available immediately. So if you ever need that money, you can have access to that money. You will pay capital gains on it if you do sell it, obviously, because at a profit. But if you sell it at break even, or if you sell it at a loss, then obviously there isn't, and you would probably get a discount on your taxes if you took a loss on it. But it's always available to you. The stock that's not available to you is the one that's gifted to you. So when you hit your milestones, or when you attract agents to the company, then that stock has a 3-year vesting period. So a lot of you have been with EXP now for over 3 years. So if you think that your money could be better allocated somewhere else, you can actually start moving that money around now.
How do you access that, Louis?
You got to go through your EXP work. You got to go through your EXP enterprise, click on Morgan Stanley ShareWorks, and then you have to activate E-Trade, and then you could do it from there.
Oh.
Yeah.
And your camera's out.
Oh, yeah, my camera's out. Sorry. Yeah, it's been an hour. Let me see.
And Louis, is that the same place that we can find how much EXP stock we have accumulated through stocks, through transaction closings?
Yeah, and it shows you how much is liquid and how much is still vesting.
And so what was that again? EXP Enterprise, and then you click on what?
Morgan Stanley ShareWorks.
Mortgage what?
Morgan Stanley ShareWorks.
Morgan Stanley, okay.
And then it'll prompt you to open up an E-Trade account, because they've now partnered with E-Trade, which is still with Morgan Stanley, but it's like their brokerage division or something.
Okay.
EXP matches our stocks when we give 5%. They match it for us, or
No, they give us a discount on the stock. So if the stock is trading at, let's say, $15, you'll get it for like 14 or 13.50.
And what about if I want to go pull my money out now?
If you want to pull your money out,
yeah, all of it.
You can pull out all of it, all of the stock that's vested. So if it's been there for 3 years or more, or if you bought it with your own commissions, you can pull that money out whenever you want. And it's very easy. You ask for a wire, and you wire it into your account within the same day or the next day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's simple.
Well, that was helpful information, Louis. Thank you.
No problem. Does
Can
anyone
I
else?
share one last thing?
Yeah, please go for it.
I make it a really good habit now that I learned how good it is to go to my board meetings. You know, I'm part of West Metro Board of Realtors and Navarre Board of Realtors.
Yeah.
and especially making sure that you too, Brent, will go, because if we want to know what NAR is doing, they need our voice. And the best way how to help them out is to go to our board meetings. You have no idea how real estate agents lack these meetings. And I found out that that's one of the best gifts that EXP has given to us, is stating that we all must be members of a realtor's board. And my last meeting here in Georgia, we talked about marketing, and she really hammered real estate agents over the head, saying that us realtors, we don't know how to market. And one thing that I did take away from it is that the board that we're a member of, it needs to be in our emails, on our signatures, and it needs to be on our business card. So whatever material it is that we're handing out, however it is that we're going to be known, because just like being a member of the Chamber of Commerce gets a lot of businesses, more business, our being members of boards will help us get the business.
Yeah.
Because they may not understand our acronyms of being buyers representatives or luxury listed, GRE, CRE, whatever it is. They don't understand that, but they do know what a member board is.
All of that is 100% correct. And I will tell you right now, the cherry on top is that agents right now are running for cover, and they're looking for safety. So you showing up as an EXP agent is going to literally make you the most popular kid in class if you start going to these board meetings, because now instead of trying to sell EXP, they're going to ask you about it, because a lot of them are looking to jump ship in this market. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So go to those meetings, guys. That's the only way that your voice gets to NAR, besides the emails that they sending out. You have to go and be present.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah, good idea.
They're free. Go and be present. You pay for it every year. Go and be present.
There you go. All right. Does anyone else want to share anything before we go? All right. Well, Brent, can I ask you to take us out in prayer, brother? I always got to take it when you're here with us.
There are so many things that we do not understand in everyday life. We certainly do not understand anything to do with our future, not even the next minute. But we believe by faith that you tell us that you know the end from the beginning. You knew us before we were conceived. You knew us when we were being knit together in our mother's womb. And you have plans for us that allow us to prosper. And so I pray, God, that you would reveal yourself to each of us in whatever circumstance we're in this day. May we seek first your kingdom, that you will make our paths straight and add to us along those pathways the things that you know we need. So we ask for your blessing. We ask that we would have a desire to honor you in all that we do and say and think. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, everyone.
You too.